Hi everyone, in this video lesson we'll be looking at powers, and here's a little bit of an example of what we will be doing. Alright, so what are powers? Well, powers are used to help write an expression involving repeated multiplication in a simplified form. So what do I mean by that? Well, let me give you an example. 8 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 8 could actually be written as 8 to the power of 5. So these over here, this 8 by 8 by 8, etc., is called expanded form, and 8 to the power of 5, there's the little power of 5, is called a simplified form. It is very, very important to remember that powers take priority in the order of operations. So when we are doing BIMDAS, okay, indices are over here and they take priority. So indices are things like powers and squared roots. So let's work that out in an actual example. So we've got 3 add 2 multiplied by 4 squared. Alright, so let's work that out. So 3 will stay the same, plus 2 times, now we've got 4 squared. So we know that 4 by 4 is 16. So we write our 16 down. And obviously, BIMDAS, we're still doing multiplication before we do addition and subtraction. So we still go 3, add, well, 2 lots of 16 are 32. And now we go to our addition, which is at the end of our BIMDAS, and 3 add 32, giving me 35 as my answer. Some of the common mistakes made when it comes to powers is when we have an example or question like this. We have 2 to the power of 3. Now we know that we should write this out as 2 times 2 times 2. And therefore 2 times 2 is 4, times another 2 would give me 8. Now unfortunately, sometimes what happens is people see 2 to the power of 3 and they will write it out like this, 2 times 3, and they'll give the answer as 6. That is wrong, wrong, wrong. Do not do that, ever. Right, I'm going to give you a question to solve for me. Simplify the following expression by writing it in index form. So here's our question. 3 times 3 times 2 times 3 times 2 times 3. And we need to write that in index form. So the first thing I'm going to do is identify my smallest numbers in this particular expression. So I've got 2 there and I've got a 2 there. So therefore I will write this as 2 to the power of 2 because I've got 2 of them. And it's a multiplication sum all the way through. There's no addition. That's all multiplication. So multiplied by, and now I'm going to have a look at what my next biggest number is, and in this case it happens to be a 3. So I've got 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there, and that tells me that I've actually got 4 of them. So I go 3 to the power of 4. And that is how I've written this expression over there in index form. It's 2 to the power of 2 because I've got 2 2's, and multiplied by 3 to the power of 4 because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 3's. Right, next question for you. I want you to expand and evaluate this sum over here. So I've got 2 to the power of 3 multiplied by 5 to the power of 2. I need you to expand it, and I also need you to give me the answer. Have a go. Put the video on pause. Well, 2 to the power of 3 can be written as 2 times 2 times 2. Okay? Multiplied by, now we're going to have a look at our next number, which is 5 times 5. And why is it 5 times 5? Well, because it's 5 to the power of 2, which means I should have 2 5's over there. So 2 times 2 times 2 gives me 8, multiplied by 5 times 5 is 25. And don't forget to put your equal sign in. And then we have 8 by 25, and that gives me 200. So my answer is 200. Well done. Alright, so here's another one for you to evaluate for me. So 2 times 3 to the power of 3 plus 10 to the power of 2 plus 1 to the power of 7. I want you to expand it, and I want you to give me the answer, please. Put the video on pause and come back when you're ready. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is write down my 2. So I've got 2, and then I'm multiplying it by 3 times 3 times 3. And where do I get those from, those 3 3's? Well, it's 3 to the power of 3, so that little 3 up there means there needs to be 3 3's. Right. The next thing I have, remember, I've got a little plus there, so now I need to write plus, and I've got 10 to the power of 2, so I need to go 10 times 10. And the last thing that I have is I have 1 to the power of 7, and that is plus 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. So why have I put 7 there? Well, there are 7 up there, therefore there needs to be 7 lots of 1 times 1. Alright, so now I've got it in expanded form, so now I need to solve it. So the first thing we need to do is put our little equal sign down, and we've got 2, and we now need to multiply 3 by 3 by 3. 3 by 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. Awesome. So the next thing now I need to do is add my 10 by 10. So add 10 by 10 is 100. And then we've got to add in this lot over here. So what is 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 7 times? Well, it is simply 1 times 1 is 1. Okay. Next thing we need to do is 2 by 27 is 54 plus 101 equals 155. Hope you got that one right. Alright, well that's the lesson on powers.